So I got asked today, how long does it take to change out an alternator? So I thought I'd make a quick video on it and just quickly show the process of what's involved to change out the alternator and why it might be taking longer in some cases. So how long does it take to change out an alternator? Well, roughly it's going to take around 1 to 2 hours. It can vary a little bit and it can kind of depend. Changing out an alternator is usually fairly easy, especially if they're up on top of the engine like this. This is a 2010 Chevy Silverado and the alternator's up on the top. Basically, to remove this, you have to take this belt off by turning on this idler pulley right here, and this belt will come off. You'll have 2 electrical connections on the back, and then you'll have 2 bolts, one right here and one right here, and you remove those and you put the new alternator in and just hook it back up. One thing that often happens with these belts, especially when they have a lot of pulleys and different things are going around, is sometimes they'll come off and they'll go down to the ground and people will forget how to hook them back up. And while they'll get it back together eventually, it can often be kind of confusing how that belt twisted back together around those pulleys and everything, because usually there's a diagram underneath the hood or right when you open the hood, but sometimes that gets damaged or it's just not there. So if you ever do take off an alternator, be sure to take a picture of it, because that can be kind of confusing sometimes to get back together. Here's another example of an alternator on a 2002 Honda Civic, and as you can see, it has a connector right here. It'll have the belt going around right here, and it'll have a bolt here and right here. And when they're down like this, they can be a little bit more difficult to get to, and so it takes a little bit more time to get them out. Again, it's not terribly difficult, but you're working in tight spaces, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult than if it was located up on top of the engine. Here's another example. This one's a 2012 Honda Accord, and as you can see, it's down in there towards the bottom. So this bolt wouldn't be too difficult to get to, but the one underneath it is going to be a little difficult, and getting this belt off is going to be a little bit harder. So that just takes a little bit more time. And so again, while it's not terribly difficult, it's going to take a little bit more time because it's down in there a little bit. And another thing that can happen with these that can take time is that sometimes these bolts can be rusted in. It's really going to vary. It often depends on the climate and things like this, or where the vehicle's been driving through. But if these bolts are rusted in, then they'll be more difficult to remove. And in some cases, they can even break on you. That's not too common, but sometimes they can. And if a bolt breaks, then it's going to take longer to go find a replacement bolt and get it back together. So again, that can vary. And so how long is it going to take to change out an alternator? Well, it shouldn't be more than an hour or two, and sometimes even quicker, especially if they're located up on the top like this. If they're located down in there, then it might take longer. And if the bolts look rusted up or anything like that, then it might even be longer than that. But generally speaking, roughly an hour, maybe 2, and it should be replaced. And so that's basically it. I just wanted to make a real quick video on how long it should take to change out an alternator. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me and I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.